Friday, the perfect time to answer your questions. Alright, this first one comes from Thomas, and he writes, this channel is called 33 RPM, yet I keep seeing so many videos that talk about CDs. Do you not like vinyl anymore? I love vinyl. Vinyl is my number one. I got hundreds of records here, and as I said, it's my preferred format. That said, I also listen to and collect CDs. I even stream music, right? Not everything is available on vinyl, not everything is available on CDs, so I go where the music is. This channel is the channel for vinyl gear and more, and ultimately it is about records. That said, if I really think about it, this channel is about music. The record is a medium to deliver that music to you, and again, it's my preferred medium and my number one. But if for whatever reason records no longer existed, if for whatever reason compact discs all just disappeared, I would still be a music fan because, as I say, at the end of the day, it is all about the music. But yes, of course, I still like vinyl, and this still is the channel for vinyl gear and more. And I don't think I've done that many videos on compact discs. I know I've done some, but yes, vinyl gear and more. It's not going anywhere. Tony. Hi, what outer and inner sleeves do you use? I've talked about this one quite a bit. For my outer sleeves, I use the dual pocket outer sleeves from Vinyl Storage Solution. And for the inside sleeves, for years I've used the MoFi inners, the Mobile Fidelity, but Vinyl Storage Solutions also make some really good anti-static inner sleeves, as do other companies. Okay, this one, Rob wrote, hey Frank, is your wife going to be okay with you watching a movie with such scantily clad young women? If yes, then she's awesome, but she's awesome anyway. So this comment came on a video I did a few weeks ago where I talked about the upcoming movie Kill Her Goats. And because I had the soundtrack, I showed the soundtrack, but I also showed clips from the movie. And it has young women in their underwear running through a graveyard at night being slaughtered, right? The lesson of that is don't run through a graveyard at night in your underwear because you'll be slaughtered. Hey, Sherry. Yeah? Hold on. The viewer wants to know if you'd be upset if I watched a horror movie with scantily clad women running through a graveyard at nighttime being slaughtered.
Can I watch it with you?
She said she asked if she can watch it with me. So you wouldn't be offended by that?
Why would I be offended?
I don't know. So there you go. Sherry doesn't mind. I'm sure she'd mind if I was bringing scantily clad women home, but to watch them on TV, not a big deal. Okay, what else do we have here? This next question, Steinborn BB. Steinborn. He says, hi Frank, on the subject of soundtracks, why don't we see more movie soundtrack reviews? Just off the top of my head, I can think of so many great titles worthy of review. Something for thought. Thanks. Yeah, I'm open to doing more reviews of soundtracks and showing soundtracks, and indeed there are so many good ones. I was thinking about this. My favorite soundtrack of all time is probably Judgment Night. I just recently got that on Blu-ray as well, and I was showing it to some friends, and I got the record, and that was a pretty iconic soundtrack where they paired rock artists with hip-hop artists, and it was quite groundbreaking at the time, right? I guess there's bands like Rage Against the Machine and Faith No More kind of doing that beforehand, but this whole soundtrack was just dedicated to that sort of blending of genres, and some people say that contributed to the rise of nu metal in the years that followed. I'm not sure about that, but yeah, soundtracks. I will definitely consider that. Yeah, this next one came from Retlaw, and he wrote, Frank, Back from the Dead is an awesome design. Keep up the videos. Are you going to have your wife in more of your videos this year? You both make a cute couple. Happy spinning from Iowa. Awesome. He's talking about this t-shirt. It is available. Will I have my wife on? Yeah, sure. You want to come on the show sometime this year? Sure. So she says sure. She's in the next room playing video games. She's always fun to have on, so stay tuned. We will have Sherry on again. Okay, Hubin. He wrote, Frank, can you release a t-shirt with that cool circular graphic on the back? That kind of big graphic looks better that way. Just a little channel 33 RPM on the front. I'm not a fan of wearing big graphics on my front side, man. Thank you. It's a good idea. I had not thought about that, but I think it might be Might be worth doing a shirt like that with a big graphic on the back and a little one on the front. Stay tuned. Okay, this next question is from my Velo. Sorry, I hope I didn't get that wrong. Velo wrote, what's the point of a cheap turntable? Probably to play music. Old school. Maybe you can do some beer reviews too. Beer in vinyl. LOL. You know, I like a nice cold beer on a hot day, but I'm not a beer guy. I used to be more of a beer guy. I've kind of lost my taste for it over the years. And there are people with so much more knowledge than me. Like craft beers are really big right now. I mean, if I have a choice of a beer and it's a hot day and it's cold, I have like a Corona or maybe a good Canadian beer like Alexander Keith's or a Moosehead. These aren't microbrews. They're well-established, well-distributed beers. I never got into the craft beer thing. I'm more of a whiskey guy. I can talk to you about whiskey. My favorite whiskey is Crown Royal, which is distilled just an hour's drive from here in Gimli, Manitoba on the shores of Lake Winnipeg. I'm all about the Crown, but beer? I don't know, but maybe I will do more videos from the bar because those are kind of fun and maybe I can talk more about my favorite drinks. I hesitate a little bit because I've done videos at the bar before and I've received messages from recovering alcoholics who say they can't watch that and they find it too tempting or whatever. So I'm cognizant of that as well, but maybe I can do more stuff along those lines. Ellis wrote, is it me or do you think these price hikes are going to kill the sales of records? That's a good question because we keep seeing the price of records go up and people keep saying that's the end of it. It's going to kill the vinyl revival. People are going to stop buying records, yet record sales keep going up and up and up. So it's a really interesting situation. I've talked about this before. I mean, personally, I have slowed down my record purchasing, where I used to buy a few a month. Nowadays, I'm buying maybe one every month or two and just being more selective about what I buy. But I don't see an implosion of record sales coming anytime soon. If it happened, I wouldn't be too sad. I'd like to see record prices go down, but it is what it is. The townspeople wrote, what is the benefit of having multiple copies of the same record? I'm guilty of this. Some records I own like 3 or 4 copies of. It's a collector's thing in a sense. Like my favorite albums, I get like the Canadian pressing, the US, the German, the Japanese, whatever. That said, some people don't realize this, but different pressings can actually sound different, sometimes subtly, sometimes not so subtly. So it's always kind of fun to compare the different pressings and see how they sound. But largely, I would say, at least for me anyway, it's a collectability thing, right? I do love music, as we talked about earlier in the video, but I'm also a collector. I think it's fun to collect those different variations. Okay, this next question from Night Rat. What are your thoughts on belt drive versus direct drive? I know the purists tend to gravitate towards belt drive because the motor is decoupled from the platter and it's supposed to reduce the noise. Personally, I prefer direct drive. It's no nonsense, nothing to worry about. Belts aren't going to stretch or break over time. And I don't, personally myself, I haven't heard a big difference sound-wise between the two. So out of convenience, I'll pick direct drive. But again, that's not the ideal answer, and the purists won't like it when I say that. Roger Johnson wrote, hey Frank, have you ever done a review of your zero stack gun and how to use it? I have years ago. I can link to it below the video, but I'm talking like 6 or 7 years ago. The production quality of my videos wasn't great back then, so maybe I should do it again. Here's the zero stack gun. They're not cheap. I think they run about $100, but they do work, and this is the best way, really the only way I have found that can kill static effectively. Here in this part of the world, winter is really cold and dry, and you need something to kind of control that static. And again, for me, I found this is the only thing that works, and stay tuned. Maybe I will do a video about it in the coming weeks or months or sometime. And John wrote, what is the name of the app you use to measure the speed? He's talking about an app on my phone I often use to measure the wow and flutter on turntables. It's simply called what's it called here? Speed and Wow. It's on Android. It's free. And here it is when you open it, and you just put in your turntable and you hit start, and it measures how fast it rotates, and it measures the wow and flutter. And it seems to work okay. I always say it's a novelty because I don't think there's any guarantee that your reading is absolutely accurate, but it will give you a good ballpark reading. So yeah, again, it is called RPM, Speed, and Wow. Here's a screenshot, and it's available wherever you get your Android apps. All right, 33ers, if you have any questions for future episodes, leave them in the comments below. Thank you for watching. I'll see you again in a couple of days. Until then, keep on spinning.